several months since 7 motorcyclists were killed by a West Springfield man in New Hampshire, and now another lawsuit has been filed on behalf of one of the victims. Vladimir Zukowski was behind the wheel of a truck and trailer in June at the time of the crash on a Massachusetts license that should have been suspended due to an alcohol charge he received in Connecticut just weeks earlier. There's criticism against Westfield Transport, the West Springfield company that hired Zukowski, who even before the June crash had a troubled driving history. A failure to communicate out-of-state driving violations at the RMV is blamed for Zukowski's legal ability to drive. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo is digging deeper into this latest lawsuit against the Westfield Transport Company. She also has an exclusive update on those affected by the RMV's backlog of violations. Audrey?
The Registry of Motor Vehicles is continuing to issue license suspensions to thousands of Massachusetts drivers as they comb through the backlog of violations that went untouched for years. This is the longtime partner of one of the victims in the New Hampshire crash comes forward taking action of her own.
7 motorcyclists killed in June when a truck driven by Vladimir Zukowski crossed the center line and struck them. One of those victims was Albert Mazza Jr., known as Woody. Western Mass News has obtained a copy of the lawsuit filed by Mazza's partner, Mary Lou Welch, against Zukowski's employer, Westfield Transport. Welch recalls driving separately from the group in a car and hearing an explosion. Documents state Welch ran to the New Hampshire scene, saying, quote, "They were restraining me because I kept trying to get to Woody. I just didn't want him to be alone." Welch said Mazza died before she could reach him and say goodbye. Others at the scene attempting to console her, saying over and over again, "It will be okay." But it wasn't, and it won't ever be again. The lawsuit charges Westfield Transport with trespasser on the highway, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and negligent hiring. We called Westfield Transport for a response, and they said no comment. In the meantime, the Registry of Motor Vehicles continuing to address their backlog of out-of-state notifications. Of more than 5,000 licenses that have been suspended since the June crash, 3,300 came from the backlog and new infractions, and another 1,000 came from a cross-check of the National Driver Register. One of those suspensions belonged to Michael Shabury.
Due to an infraction I had back in 1989 in North Carolina, I regret, doing what, I had, the OUI back then, and, I've had a clean, record. I've never been in trouble other than that.
The Pittsfield man, who spoke with us over video chat, showed Western Mass News paperwork documenting his reinstatement papers issued from North Carolina after his OUI case was resolved.
I paid my fee and got a reinstatement paper, and then when I came back to Massachusetts, I had a reinstatement paper in 91 and got my license in 91, and I've had my license ever since.
But 2 months ago, Shabury received a suspension notice, citing his North Carolina offense. After several calls to each state's DMV and his state representative, Shabury says he discovered North Carolina never removed his name from the NDR.
There was a clerical error, and they removed me from this national registry.
But he says the process took 2 months before the RMV would reinstate his license.
There was no direction for resolution. I had to scramble and make phone calls and ask, for, favors, basically, the insurance company that, they could hold on until, we were hoping this issue would be resolved. Otherwise, I was going to have an uninsured vehicle. I don't feel it was handled very professionally at all.
Shabury tells me his license was reinstated just a short time ago. The RMV tells us drivers are provided with numbers on how to contact their out-of-state motor vehicle departments for help with past infractions. We also reached out to the DMV in North Carolina for comment. Reporting live in studio, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.